People always ask why I never got angry. Why I stayed calm while my future burned right in front of me. The truth is, I wasn't numb. I was planning. And when the chance finally came to end everything, I didn't scream, I didn't beg. I just handed them the truth they left for dead and walked away. The damage did the talking. I still remember the exact tone of her voice. Soft. Careful. Almost rehearsed. My fiancé looked me right in the eyes and said, "I need to talk to you, and this won't be easy for you." At first, I honestly thought she was about to complain about something small. Maybe we'd forgotten to pay a bill. Maybe we were about to have one of those minor relationship arguments you laugh about later. I had no idea that she was about to take a wrecking ball to my life. For context, I'm 30, and up until 3 months ago, I really believed I had things figured out. I'd been with my fiancée, I'll call her Amanda, for 4 years. We met at a friend's backyard barbecue. The conversation started over cheap beer and jokes so bad we both pretended they were funny just to keep talking. Within months, we were inseparable. She was smart, funny, beautiful, the kind of person who filled a room just by walking into it. When we got engaged on New Year's Eve, friends counting down around us, champagne bottles popping, I went down on one knee with shaking hands, and she cried like it was the happiest moment of her life. I thought it was mine, too. We set the date for October. Booked a venue. Sent out save the dates. We were picking floral colors and joking about who'd cry more during the vows, her or my mom. We had traditions, burnt pancakes on Sundays, our Thursday night sushi dates, stupid inside jokes that made strangers stare when we laughed too loud in public. It felt real. Solid. Safe. Or so I thought. That Tuesday started like nothing special. I'd just gotten back from the gym around 6 p.m., sweaty, scrolling on my phone, waiting for her to come home. She usually worked late, so when I heard the door open just after 6:30, I looked up expecting her to be tired, maybe smiling, maybe annoyed about traffic. Instead, she looked like she'd seen a ghost. Pale. Shaking. She didn't even take off her shoes. Her bag hit the floor by the door, forgotten, and she stood there staring at me with this stiff half-paralyzed expression. 10 whole seconds passed before she finally walked over. She didn't sit beside me, like she usually did, curling up under my arm. She sat in the armchair opposite me, stiff and distant, like we were strangers negotiating a business deal. That should have been my warning. Her voice barely made a sound. "I need to talk to you. And this won't be easy for you." My stomach dropped. I straightened up. "Okay, what's going on? Are you sick? Is your family?" Then I saw her hands. They were trembling so hard she had to grip the chair arms to steady herself. "I've been seeing someone else." Time didn't slow down. It didn't speed up. It just stopped. I heard the words, but it was like they hit a wall in my head and bounced off before they could register. I stared at her, confused, waiting for something, a joke, a clarification, anything that would make those words untrue. "You've been what?" My voice sounded weird. Like I was listening to someone else speak. She swallowed hard. "I've been having an affair. For about 7 months." And just like that, she started crying. Not the quiet kind, the messy, mascara-running type that would have broken me once. But now? Watching her cry felt like watching rain hit a window. It was happening, but none of it touched me. 7 months. My brain started doing math without asking me for permission. 7 months meant it started around her birthday. The same month I spent weeks planning her surprise party. Calling her family. Decorating. Baking. Cooking. Smiling. Loving. And while I was doing all that, she was with someone else. I didn't even recognize my own voice when I asked, "Who?" "His name is Connor," she whispered. "He works with me, in marketing." I nodded slowly. It was either that or scream. She kept talking, saying she wanted to tell me sooner, she never meant this to happen, she was confused, she thought it would end on its own, excuse after excuse pouring out between sobs. Then she said it. "I think I need to figure out what I really want." I actually laughed. It wasn't funny, but something inside me snapped and that laugh came out sharp and bitter. "Figure out what you want? While we have a wedding planned?" She flinched like I'd slapped her. "I do love you. I'm just confused." "Confused," I repeated, trying not to yell. "You're confused. And I'm what? A backup plan? A safety net? Something you hold on to until you're done trying out other options?" She whispered, "I just thought you deserved the truth." I stood up so quickly the chair scraped against the floor. My whole body was shaking now. "Get out." "What?" "We need to talk about this." "No. You need to leave. Go stay with your boyfriend, your family, anyone who isn't me. But you're leaving right now." She begged. She argued. She said we couldn't throw away 4 years like this. Meanwhile, I was in the bedroom shoving her clothes into a duffel bag, my heart pounding like I'd run a marathon. She screamed that I was overreacting. And I said it plain. I'm not the one who cheated for 7 months. I shoved the bag into her arms, opened the door, and didn't look her in the eye again. Eventually, she walked out. I heard the door slam, heard her car engine start, and then, silence. A heavy, unreal silence. I sat on the edge of what used to be our bed, now just mine, and stared at nothing until nearly 3 in the morning. And that night, something changed inside me. Something broke, but something else started forming too. Because the next day, I decided I wouldn't just walk away. I'd play my own game. And she would never forget it. The days that followed barely felt real. It was like I was walking through fog with my ears ringing, like the world was moving but I wasn't part of it. I called my boss Wednesday morning, voice shaky, and muttered something about food poisoning. He told me to rest. If only that were the problem. I couldn't eat. Couldn't even look at food without feeling sick. I'd lie down, close my eyes, and instantly see her face saying those words again. I fell in love with someone else. It played on a loop like some twisted alarm I couldn't shut off. Thursday afternoon, my best friend Tyler showed up unannounced. I hadn't answered any of his messages, and he had a spare key for emergencies. Guess this counted. He opened the door and found me exactly how I'd been since that night, sitting on the couch in the same clothes, hair a mess, apartment looking like a storm had rolled through. Dirty dishes, laundry on the floor, curtains still closed. I must have looked pathetic. He didn't do that annoying thing where people try to force a pep talk. He just grabbed his phone, ordered pizza, tossed me a towel, and said, "Shower. Now. You smell like heartbreak and gym socks." It was the closest thing to comfort I'd felt all week. After I cleaned up, I sat across from him and told him everything. Every detail. Every word. I watched his jaw tighten with every sentence. "You need to go scorched earth," he said as soon as I finished. "Blow it all up. Tell everyone. Her family, her job, friends, everybody." "I can't think about revenge right now," I muttered. And I meant it. I didn't want payback. I just wanted to stop hurting. But the universe apparently wasn't done with me yet. On Friday afternoon, I sat down with my laptop. I figured it was time to start untangling our lives, little by little. I opened our shared cloud photo account to separate the pictures. I'd only managed to delete a handful when I spotted a folder I didn't recognize. It was labeled "See Red Heart." My heartbeat started hammering. I clicked it open. And there it was. Dozens of photos. Dates at restaurants, the same places I'd suggested we try together, and she'd shut down, saying she didn't feel like going out. Pictures of the beach. During the weekend she told me she had a boring work conference. Hotel rooms. Selfies in bed together. Her smile, so comfortable. So happy. And then the texts. Screenshots saved like they were souvenirs from a vacation. Hundreds of messages. Talking about me like I was some obstacle they had to step over. Talking about their future after I'd paid for the deposits. One message from June smacked me across the face. "Connor, just a few more months and you'll be free. Then we can stop sneaking around." Her, I hate lying to him, but I can't leave yet. We already put down deposits for the wedding, and I don't want to lose all that money. After October, we can be together openly. Another message from July. Her, he's sweet but boring. I love him, but I'm not in love with him. You make me feel alive. Boring. Worth keeping only because the deposits were paid. I wasn't a fiancé, I was a financial convenience. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely click the mouse. I saved everything. Screenshotted every text. Every picture. Every conversation. I backed it all up 3 different ways: my laptop, an external drive, and a separate cloud account she'd never touch. And as I stared at the evidence stacked up in front of me, the fog in my head finally started to clear. The pain was still there, but something colder replaced the confusion. I wasn't going to just walk away quietly. If she wanted to play games behind my back? Fine. I'd show her I could play too. And I'd be 3 moves ahead. By Monday morning, something inside me finally went cold enough to think clearly. Not angry. Not devastated. Just focused. Like I had turned into a version of myself built purely for logic and self-respect. Here's the first thing I reminded myself: the apartment we'd lived in? It was mine. I bought it 2 years ago with inheritance money from my grandfather. My name was on the deed, the mortgage, the utilities, everything. Amanda moved in a year and a half ago and chipped in for groceries and internet, but legally she had as much claim to that place as a visiting houseplant. Second thing, the shared credit card we opened for wedding expenses. Guess who'd been using it to wine and dine her boyfriend? Yep. Miss, I need to figure out what I really want. I pulled up the statements and started highlighting restaurant charges, hotel stays, 2 top dinners at places she once told me weren't worth trying. The total stung worse than a slap, nearly $4,000 over 7 months. All while she smiled at me and planned our future. So Monday afternoon, I called a lawyer. She listened, then said calmly, "Document everything. Freeze shared assets. Remove her access immediately. And be prepared for pushback." She might as well have told a drowning man to build a boat, because by Wednesday, I'd built one. Here's what I'd done. Removed Amanda from the shared account. Changed the locks, completely legal since she wasn't on the lease or deed. Cancelled our joint wedding card. Compiled a neat evidence folder with dates, screenshots, charges. Then came the satisfying part. I contacted the wedding venue and photographer. Turns out, if you cancel more than 6 months ahead, you can get a good chunk back. I asked, how much exactly? Around 60%. Almost $8,000 back into my pocket. My pocket, since I'd paid for everything. With that done, I texted Amanda. We can talk. Saturday. Coffee shop near your sister's. She replied within seconds. She'd been blowing up my phone since the day she left, saying we needed to talk, that she could explain, that we shouldn't throw away what we built. Saturday arrived, and she walked in like it was a date. Hair curled. Makeup perfect. Wearing the dress she knew I loved, the soft blue one that always made her eyes look brighter. She sat down and immediately reached for my hand like she expected forgiveness to be waiting on the table. "Thank you for meeting with M. I cancelled the wedding." I didn't wait for her sentence to finish. Her smile froze. All the color drained from her face like someone had pulled a plug. "You what?" "I cancelled everything. Venue, photographer, caterer. Got most of the deposits refunded. Since I paid for all of it, that money's back with me." "You can't just do that without talking to me," she snapped, voice desperate. "Actually, I can," I said. My name was on the contracts. I slid a manila folder across the table. She stared at it like it might detonate. "What's this?" Proof. She opened it and flipped through printed photos, screenshots of texts, and a spreadsheet breaking down every credit charge she'd made to fund her affair. Dates, places, dollar amounts, all highlighted in yellow like an accounting nightmare. Her voice cracked. Where did you get these? You left yourself logged into our shared cloud. Sloppy. I leaned back and kept my voice steady, almost casual. Here's how this goes. You'll pay me back the $4,000 you spent. I'm calling it theft because that's exactly what it is. You used a wedding card to take your boyfriend on dates. So, you're going to reimburse me. I didn't steal. Yes, you did, I cut in. And if you don't pay? I'll file a police report. I'll also share copies of this folder with your family, our friends, your coworkers, and if necessary, I'll send it to your HR department. Maybe even post it online. We'll let the world decide if I'm being unfair. Tears spilled down her cheeks, not sad tears. Angry ones. You're being cruel, she hissed. No. I'm being fair. You spent 7 months lying to me, planning a life with him while using my money. This is me being generous. I stood, placed a $20 bill on the table, and looked right at her. You have 2 weeks to get me the money. After that, I go public. Then I walked away. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from finally taking control. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. And I knew one thing for sure. I was done being her backup plan. 2 days after that coffee shop showdown, my phone lit up with a number I recognized, Amanda's sister. I barely had time to say hello before she launched into me, screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. She said I was ruining Amanda's life, that I was heartless, that I should be more understanding, because relationships are complicated. I let her rant. Let her empty every insult she could dig up. When she finally paused to breathe, I just said, steady and slow. 7 months of calculated lying isn't a mistake. It's a choice. Then I hung up and blocked the number. I wasn't entertaining the circus. Funny enough, 10 days later, I received 2 separate deposits into my account, first $2,500, then $1,500. The exact amount owed. My guess? Connor helped pay it off, which honestly made me laugh harder than anything had in weeks. The guy was financing her betrayal like it was a co-signed loan. Along with the payments came a long email from Amanda, apologies, excuses, some sentimental memories sprinkled in like seasoning. At the end, she asked if, maybe one day, we could be friends. I closed the email. Never replied. I thought that was the end of it, until 3 weeks later. I got a message from a stranger on social media. A woman named Lauren. Her message was short, direct, and sent a chill straight through me. I think we need to talk about Connor Mitchell and Amanda. I called her immediately. The moment she picked up, I heard a level of exhaustion in her voice that only comes from betrayal. She told me everything. Connor wasn't single. He wasn't even divorced. He had been married to her for 6 years. They had 2 kids together, 1 toddler, 1 barely out of preschool. And Amanda? She was not the first affair. Connor had told Amanda his wife was crazy, that they were separated, that they just needed time to finalize paperwork, all lies. Classic cheating playbook. Lauren only discovered the truth because he started getting sloppy. She checked his phone and found Amanda's number, pictures, messages, the same kind of folder I'd uncovered. She did some digging online, connected the dots, and realized she needed to talk to me. We met for coffee. It wasn't friendly, exactly, more like 2 people recognizing each other's pain in the same language. We compared timelines. Screenshots. Receipts. We didn't laugh because it was funny. We laughed because if you don't laugh at something that ridiculous, you'll probably cry or punch a wall. Then she looked at me and asked, would you be willing to let me use your evidence for my custody case? I didn't even hesitate. Absolutely. Take whatever you need. I sent her the entire folder that night, every photo, every message, every timestamp. If Connor wanted to play dirty, then he could deal with consequences he never expected. Before I went to bed, I forwarded Lauren's contact info to Amanda. Nothing dramatic, nothing spiteful. Just one message. Thought you should know who you fell in love with. He's married with 2 kids. That was it. No emojis. No lecture. No closure speech. She never responded. And I never heard from her again. Honestly? That silence was the best apology she could have given me. It's been about 3 months since the whole situation blew up and, honestly, life looks nothing like I thought it would. The last time I saw Amanda was at that coffee shop with a folder full of receipts. After that, she basically vanished. Word eventually trickled through friends that she moved out of state to stay with family. I didn't go looking for updates, but you know how information finds you anyway. Apparently, her relationship with Connor self-destructed the moment she found out he was married. From what I heard, she stormed into his office and confronted him in front of half his department, shouting, crying, the whole dramatic meltdown. It got so loud that security had to step in. 3 days later, Connor was unemployed. And if that wasn't enough, Lauren took him apart in the divorce. Full custody, child support, alimony, assets split, the works. A clean sweep. The guy played stupid games and won every stupid prize. As for me, I'm okay. Better than okay, actually, but it took time. That first month sucked. There's no point pretending it didn't. Some days were heavy in a way I can't fully explain, like someone had stacked weights on my chest. I kept thinking about what should have been, replaying every moment, overanalyzing everything, wondering how I missed all the signs. Then one morning, around week 6, something shifted. I woke up, made coffee, looked around the apartment, and realized I wasn't dreading the day. The place still felt quiet, but it wasn't sad anymore. It was peaceful. Mine. I wasn't waking up next to somebody who lied. I wasn't clinging to a future that wasn't real. I didn't have to compete for affection or attention. Therapy's been a big part of getting to that point. I go every week, and for the first time in my life, I'm actually learning how to take care of myself emotionally, not just pretend everything's fine. I'm back at the gym, too. 5 days a week. I'm reconnecting with friends I let slip out of my life because I was always busy being someone's boyfriend, someone's caretaker, someone's backup plan. I've even gone on a few casual dates. Nothing serious, just getting used to the idea of starting fresh. It felt weird at first, but not bad. Kind of like testing warm water with your toes before deciding to step in. The wedding would have been last weekend. The date came and went without fireworks or breakdowns. Instead of standing at an altar, I went hiking with some friends. We climbed a trail, joked around, took pictures of the view. Someone mentioned, offhandedly, "Hey, wasn't this supposed to be your wedding day?" I blinked, laughed, and realized I hadn't thought about it even once until they said it. That felt huge. I don't know if I believe in perfect closure, but I'm getting close to something like acceptance. Yeah, I got lied to. Yeah, I got used. And yeah, it hurt like hell. But it didn't end me. I survived. Now I'm building something new, something honest, and for the first time in a long time, it's just for me. Edit, a lot of people have asked if Amanda ever tried contacting me again. She did, once, through a mutual friend, asking if I'd be open to talking. I told them to let her know I wasn't interested. There's nothing she could say that would change anything, and I don't need closure from someone who never cared about me when it mattered. Edit 2, for those asking about Connor, yes, he actually got fired. That office blow-up Amanda caused opened a whole investigation into his work habits. Turns out he'd been working on his affair during company time, and management decided it was cheaper to cut him loose than deal with the drama. Actions have consequences. Some just take a little time to catch up.